Ladies and gents, it's the Kaiweets Smart Digital Multimeter. I'm quite impressed with it, if I'm completely honest. The KM601. And it has some really interesting and quite impressive functions for a multimeter that's in its range. Let's get into it. What's in the kit then? Okay, we've got a user manual with plenty of detail in it. It's in multiple languages. There's some cables. Yeah, I quite like these kinds of cables. There's a reason why I like these kinds of cables, because yeah, you have long pokey things. You also have some insulation. We have a thermocouple. This here is the actual thermocouple end. That measures temperature. And then the pièce de résistance, the meter itself. Let's peel off our sticky label, get rid of that. And what an absolutely rugged case. This is just solid. I have a similar sort of case on my phone. It's like a sort of an industrial bomb-proof case. We've got a light on it here. Power button here. This is for measuring, for seeing mains voltages, so 240 volts, 110 volts. Auto power off button on the side, and a light button on it as well to turn the light on and off. Press the button on the top, 1, 2, and boom, off she goes. And she is in auto mode. Let's plug in some cables. There's no flip up stand, but you know, that's no biggie. And you can see it's scanning between AC voltage, DC voltage, resistance and continuity. So in theory, if I do this, we can see we get 0 ohms and we get the beep. Continuity. Let's get some components out. There we go. We've got some resistors, capacitor, and an LDR, a light dependent resistor. So what I've got now is I have these little connectors. So what we should be able to do is make this a lot simpler for Howard. There we go. We can see here then we've got about 400 ohms, and if I cover that, you can see the resistance goes up. And actually, if I point this towards the sunlight outside, we can see that resistance goes down. So yep, that LDR is working properly. The meter is giving us some sensible readings. We'll just connect one side of the resistor here and another side of the resistor, and we can see here that we've got a 14k resistor. I haven't had to change any settings, so that's quite cool. One side of the battery with the pointy, and another side of the battery with the pointy, and we see there that we get a nice stable 1.6 volts. Pressing the big red button in the middle switches all the way around here. Yeah. So now we're in auto mode. Press the button again, and now we're in voltage mode. And it shows us at the bottom here where to connect our meter probes. That's resistance, diode check mode. So there we go. So you can see we've got 0.6 of a volt dropped across this diode. Yeah. And if we turn the diode around the other way, we've got 0. But yeah, that's normal, 0.6 of a volt across a silicon diode. And now we can change to capacitance. So let's have a look at a capacitor. So now we've got a capacitor on there. And we can see here that it says 3.6 microfarads. And if we release that, we can see it's changed down to nanofarads. Let's just quickly have a look at the temperature. Let's plug in our thermocouple. Let's change to temperature. We can see here that it says it's 25 degrees centigrade. So let's put my finger and thumb on there, and you can see immediately that temperature comes up. Another thing we can do here is measure the temperature of my car seat. 48, isn't that scary? 50 degrees, 52, and that's measuring the temperature on my car seat. So another thing I thought that would be quite good fun is to turn on the light. So here is the light button. Oh, and there we go. We can see that light doing its business right there. And that's a decent little light for getting into those dark areas. Let's just cycle through to amps, and it says lead, and it shows you where the leads need to be plugged in. So this is common here, and we need to plug a lead in to here for amps. So now we should be measuring amps. Here's our little battery, and let's do short circuit current of a AAA cell. Wow, look at that, 6 amps. That's actually quite impressive for a little AAA cell. When it comes to frequency, we can get all the way up to 9 megahertz. 9 megahertz. That's pretty good going. Let's just remove the case, but ultimately it's just a rubberized case, and this is what the meter looks like naked. That is a lovely meter. I love that display on it, I really do. That is such a nice display. Obviously links to the product will be in the description below. As always, thanks ever so much for watching Dubious Engineering. Take care, have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and all of that kind of jazz. We'll catch you in the next video. Cheers and beers, people. Bye for now.